So, if you're a fan of my live stream, you've probably seen or at least heard of this thing that I do called Datto Does Dinner. Datto Does Dinner is where I cook on stream, basically, and I play a character, Chef Datto, who is an extremely eccentric version of myself. Maybe not extremely, but very. I like to think of it as I play a character who pretends he knows everything about cooking, but actually knows absolutely nothing about cooking. That's kind of the show. The reason why I never uploaded it to YouTube is because I feel like it's a much better experience to see it live. You know, you're with the chat, everyone's spamming and having fun and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I never felt like it would be a good YouTube experience due to how I actually do the segment of the show. But, you know, here we are. I'm going to give it a shot, see how it goes. I can tell you right now, definitely not going to be for everybody. Totally understand if some people don't like it. Totally understand. Also, parents, maybe don't have your kids watch this one. It's a bit crude, and there's some swearing in it, so yeah, maybe leave them out of this one. There's also probably a couple of edits in the video just to make it flow a little bit better, but the meat of the video is still there. So without further ado, here's the first and probably last on YouTube, Datto Does Dinner. Enjoy? Maybe? What's my favorite food, chat? What is it? Somebody knows. It's pulled pork. That's right. Someone saw it. Now, we've already done pulled pork. Second favorite, steak. Third favorite, mashed potatoes. No one knows the fourth and the fifth. What's the fourth and the fifth? Well, fourth place, chicken Parmesan. Fifth place, garlic bread. So, we're going to combine the two into a wonderful medley of garlic bread stuffed with chicken parm. That's what we're doing today. You ready to go on a journey with me? First thing you need some vegetable or canola oil. You need a bunch because we're making our own chicken strips, right? If you want to be, you know, whatever, you want to go make your own chicken strips or you want to go buy your own chicken strips, you can go ahead and do that. I don't care. But we're making our own, so that's why we need the oil. Now, as you can see me preparing, I'm preparing the mixture and the combination of steps to bread our chicken. So what are you going to need? You need one chicken breast. At least make it a big one. Love big breasts. Big piece of chicken. I have some examples right here. Okay? Just cut up. You want about this thickness. You want chicken strip mozzarella stick-sized thickness. Approximately this. This is what we're looking for right here. This is primo. Okay? Something like this. This end piece, if we wanted to cut it in half, we could do that. We're not going to worry about this piece. So, oil in the pan. This oil's kind of old because I used it for some tests. So it's like a little foamy. It's kind of it's not great, but it'll do for the two pieces that we're doing. Okay. So we have our chicken right here ready to go. We want oil on medium heat. It's going to take a little bit to heat up. Okay. So what else do we need to do? Well, first we need our flour. Seasoned it with salt and pepper. Mix it around. Pre-prepared. Ready to go. What are you going to need next? The egg wash. We got our whisk. You're going to whisk that shit. Whisk it up. You don't need too many eggs. You know, you can get a good amount with only one egg. There we go. There's our nice mixture. Finally, you're going to need breadcrumbs. That's what we have right here. Breadcrumbs. Also, garlic salt rather, and a little bit of pepper. Mix it up. Okay? These are just traditional panko breadcrumbs. We could also do I also have some fancy shit over here. Because I live the high life, you can get some Italian panko breadcrumbs, and that comes with a little extra zazz. Okay? So, how are we going to test this oil? Well, what you want to do to test the oil, to see if it's ready to go, take a little piece of bread, and when you think it's ready, just tear off a little piece of bread, just like that. You dunk it in there, and you see if it starts sizzling. If it starts sizzling, you're ready to go. So we're just going to leave that there for now. We're going to let this heat up. We're going to do a couple of strips as an example. I'm not going to do all of them. The rest of them are in my toaster oven that I've reheated. Now, ideally, you're going to be cooking all these all at once. Now, what's the next thing you need while we're waiting for the oil to heat up? You're going to need your bread. Okay? We have our bread right here. This is approximately the size that you want. This is about what we're looking for in girth. You know, my feeble hands cannot take it all the way around. Can't reach all the way around. If you do too much smaller, you're not going to be able to get the chicken and the cheese inside the bread. Okay? So you want something with a little bit of girth. So we're going to cut off the butt right here. So let's do that. I'm going to do that over here. All right? So now we have our loaf. So what are we going to do first? We're going to hollow out the bread. You want to leave a little bit on the sides. You don't want to just be eating crust all the way around, right? So we're going to knife in and start cutting around, but leave some space. Leave some space so you can taste that delicious bread. Okay? And we're going to cut all the way around in a big circle. And now you're going to need to hit it from the other side as well. And now, for a loaf this big, it's going to be tough to get all of that bread out of the middle. So, what you can do is you just cut it right in half, and that's what we're going to do. Now, if you have a knife that can reach all the way down, if you have the length to penetrate, you do it. Right now, we're going to make some smaller loaves. Get out. There we go. Ripping out a bunch of the bread. We have a nice little hole right in the middle. So that gives us some wiggle room. You want to stretch that bread out if you want it. Make it a nice circle so we have room to shove in the goods. With this extra bread, I don't give a shit what you do. Fuck you, bread. In fact, let's test. Let's use it to test. There you go. That's perfect. It's exactly what we're looking for. Okay. So now with oil, you gotta be really careful with the oil. You gotta be really careful. Keep water away from the oil. That's a splash hazard. Hey, that's bad. That's some bad shit gonna go down. What are we doing first? Here we go. First piece of chicken. Right here. Into the flour. Bam. One side. Coat it. Other side. Coat it. There you go. Shake it a little bit. Make sure you get those edges and those other spots that you might not have gotten. Douse it. Take it out. Tip it off. Just like that. Rinse it off. Next. Into the egg wash. One side. Bam. Flip it over. Bam. You don't need to leave it in there that long. As long as it's soaked, you're good. Finally, into the breadcrumbs. You always want to keep one clean hand. One clean hand. There we go. Try it like that. We're going to take a fork. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this tech right here. Flip that shit on. Just flip it onto the piece of chicken. You don't get your hands dirty. Flip it. Get more of that breadcrumbs on there. Keep it crunchy. I like it crunchy. There we go. So now, you can take it with your clean hand. I just take it with my dirty hand anyway. I don't give a shit. I live by my own rules. I bet $10 at the $5 table. I do not care. And we're going to place it into the oil. It's going to start to sizzle. You got a little bit of time. You got enough time to do another one. So we're going to do the other one. Right, here we go. Piece of chicken. Into the flour. Bam. Flip it over. Bam. Into the egg wash. Next. Egg. Egg. Finally, into the breadcrumbs. Bam. Flip that shit all around. Get it on there. There we go. Flip it over. Whammy. Make sure you get that underside as well. Now we take the other one. Flip it right into the oil. Lightly. No splashy. No splashies. Okay. Now this first one is looking pretty good. You want a nice golden brown. It doesn't need to be in there that long, especially on medium heat. So we're going to flip it. Look how nice that color is already. I don't think you can see it from over here very well, but that's a very, very nice golden brown. I'll show it to the camera when it's done cooking. So you can go at a rate about 1. Every time you put one into the pan, you flip the other one over. You put a third one in there. You take this one out, put that in, flip this one over. Third one goes in fresh. And you just keep that process up. Now the oil temperature might change based on how much food is actually in the oil. So make sure that you're not taking it out prematurely on a time basis. You know, you gotta make sure it looks nice. You can't just time it and be ready to go. Now we are working with raw chicken, so I'm gonna come over here and wash my hands. So we're gonna take this one out. We're gonna put it on our plate that has napkins on it so we don't get oil all over the plate, because that's a son of a bitch to clean. That sucks. You don't want that. I'm gonna just take this one out. Check the bottom. Oh my god, that is delicious. Let that oil kind of drip off a little bit. And hover it over the plate. You see this nice golden brown? That's what I'm talking about right there. Bam, just stick that right on the plate. So you're going to cook up much more of these. We're going to flip this one over as well. So I'm going to put that right here. So we're done with the chicken. So we can get rid of our flour. Just dump that in the garbo. Put that there. Egg wash, you're going to wipe that shit out. That's going right down the drain. Finally, breadcrumbs. That's also going in the garbage. Or you can pour them back in, but you got egg all over them. You don't want egg all over your face or your breadcrumbs. Alright. So now, chicken's almost done. This should be good to go. I'm also going to wash my hands again, because I just touched that piece of chicken on accident, because I'm an idiot. So now, you do that for about as many pieces as you want. Depends on how big of a loaf you got. You know, you can make the whole loaf if you want to. I don't care. As soon as that last piece of chicken's done, take it right out. Oh my god. I want to just eat it right now. There we go. Oh, look at that. Look at that coloring. So now we're done with our oil. That means you can pour it down the sink, right? Wrong? What are you, out of your fucking mind? You absolutely do not pour leftover oil, especially when it's hot, down the drain. What are you, a lunatic? I hope you're a plumber, because you're going to screw up your pipes like that. Then people are going to get mad at you. Plumber's going to come here. That's $1,500. Now we can't get braces for Susie. God damn it. Because you pour the oil down the drain. You don't do that. What do? You take an empty bottle. This has some used oil in it already. So you're going to let that cool off. You can just pour it back in the bottle, and you can take it to some place to recycle if you want to. You can throw it in the garbage as well, but if there's some place to recycle that cooking oil, try to do that, because it's way, way better than just throwing it out. But do not, absolutely do not dump that oil down the goddamn drain. Kids, when are you doing that? Swear to God. So now, we have our chicken. And what goes with chicken parm, when we already have the chicken, we're going to cheese this bitch up. We got mozzarella. Now, if you have a smaller loaf of bread, you're going to want to go only one slice, because I used a smaller loaf of bread as a test last night, and I could not fit the 2 slices of cheese in there. Is this 2 slices or 1? What are you doing with me, cheese? Even in the real world, you fuck me up. We have our bread roll, right? Here's our example roll. Got it right here. Now, we're going to take our piece of chicken, and what we're going to do is we're going to take 2 pieces of cheese, kind of layer them on top like this, so you have about an inch crossover. Then, you're just going to wrap that. Wrap it up. Okay? Like you're with a lady. With a really nice lady. Like, she's way out of your league. How did you get this lady? I don't know. Wrap it up. You don't want to be paying child support 10 years down the road. What are you going to do? Shove that bitch in. Oh, yeah. Get it? And there we go. We have 1 piece in. Now, we're going to take our other side. You can get about 2 pieces of chicken in. I have average chicken length, and that's good enough. I've been told that my chicken length is quite average and adequate, and it works. So now, other side. Wrap that bitch up. Stick it in. This is why you want to go with a bigger loaf over a smaller loaf. You can get more cheese in there, and cheese is delicious. Now, this loaf might have been a little too small. That's okay. So if you have any left out sticking over, if you want to just slice that off, you can do that. Nice and even. Nice and even. Okay? And then you just want to eat the piece of chicken. I don't care. So that's most of the chicken parm section done. But what about the garlic bread section? Well, give me 1 sec here, guys. What I have here is our garlic sauce, garlic spread, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to reheat it. The garlic spread is about a 1/4 stick of butter, 3/8 of a teaspoon, I believe, of garlic powder, and then 1 tablespoon of Parmesan cheese and 1 tablespoon of parsley. You're going to melt the butter wherever you want. It can be in the microwave. You can melt it in the microwave. You can melt it in a pot, right on the stove top, whatever suits you. Melt it. Dunk all the other stuff together. Mix it up. And we'll see what the mixture looks like as soon as it's out of the microwave, which is right now. Now, Chad, I'm going to take things down a notch. I'm just going to take things down just a little notch. What we're going to do here is we're going to grab our 1-inch pastry brush, and Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a little bit of the garlic green, and you're really going to load up the brush here. Get a lot of the garlic, get a lot of that paint onto the brush. Okay, really douse it. You really want a lot of that cheese and that parsley. Load the brush. Look how much we're loading the brush here. Really soak both sides. Okay, just going to load it up with a lot of cheese. And here's what we're going to do. You take the underside of the brush, which does not have a lot of cheese and parsley on it. We're just going to gently graze over the top, about halfway. Get a lot of that butter and that flavor on there, and then we're going to flip over the brush and spread the cheese and the parsley. Look at that. Okay. Very lightly. You want a nice even coat if you can make it. There we go. Remember that there are no mistakes. There's not even happy accidents. The fact that you're making this is not an accident. Why? Because it's delicious and it's food. Okay, once again, load up that brush. Just over the top. Get that base layer on. Flip the brush. We're going to spread that cheesy parsley combo. Spread it right over the top. Just like that. Now you can go as heavy or as light as you want. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. It's your recipe. And we just want a nice even coating. Now if you want to as well, you can also kind of coat the inside of the bread if you wanted to. It's totally optional. But like I said, it's your recipe. If you want to do that, you can go right ahead. Now what we're going to do for the last little bit is we're going to coat the outsides, just so people on the end aren't, don't feel like they're getting ripped off. I'm going to coat that just a little bit. Doesn't have to be as heavy. Don't have to load the brush as much. Just a little. About half of the brush. You can see right there. Half the brush. And we're just going to kind of paint some of the cheese onto the other cheese. And we're just going to give it that garlicky taste. Make sure to get a little bit of the sides as well. Although I understand if you don't want to get the sides, you don't want people's fingers to get too greasy, but I really like garlic, so I'm going to just kind of baste it up. Okay, we're done. We're going to put this down on the other side. And then we cheese the bitch up. Cheese it. Oh yeah, I want that cheese. Now the original recipe called for a 20-minute cook. You don't need to do that because the chicken is basically fully cooked. What we're trying to do here is we're trying to melt the cheese inside, melt the cheese on the top, make it nice and warm. If we really want to get fancy, which we do, here's what we're going to do. In fact, you should probably do the step before you do all the cheese and the whatnot. We're going to cut this, pre-cut it into segments, but do not cut all the way through. Okay, you want to cut about halfway through here. Now you cut these to get a little bit of the garlic sauce into those cracks. So that way the garlic sauce kind of seeps through the bread and you can get it more on the inside. So you spread it, just kind of dab it in a little bit there. And that way it seeps through and you can get that flavor on the inside of the bread where you might have not originally been able to reach it. So here, spread it open and just kind of shove it on in there. The oven's preheated. It is at 350 degrees. What we're going to do is we're going to wrap this up. We're going to get some tin foil, some aluminum foil, whatever foil, I don't give a shit. Gold foil, platinum foil. You're probably a baller. Here we go. You're going to place it right in the middle. Right in the middle. Just like that. Look at all this leftover cheese. Just dunk that on. Just pour it on top. Make sure you do not leave anything. And we're just going to wrap it up. Okay? A lot of wrapping. A lot of sexual innuendo. Okay? Wrap it up just like that. Get a little bit of a bigger piece so you can kind of wrap it. You want to wrap it on both sides. Kind of pinch the tops together. And you're going to crunch the sides in as well. And that's going into the oven for about 10 to 12 minutes. Done. Look at the cheese oozing out. That's why we didn't cut it all the way through. That's looking nice. Gonna cut this all the way through. Nice and toasty and warm. We have the garlic on the inside and the outside, the chicken and the cheese. That's the good stuff right there. Ideally, you want to eat it right as it comes out of the oven. So the cheese is nice and stringy and good, and the bread is nice and crusty and nice. But that is your chicken parm garlic bread. Serves one person because you're going to eat all of it because it's so delicious. Let's go back to Destiny.